So, this is not going to come as a shock to anybody here. This will not be a shock. But I am actually not a bodybuilder. Nobody's surprised by that. I know you're not surprised. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I do try to get to the gym a couple times a week, try to stay healthy, and it's mostly just so I can eat cake. That's why I work out. But there is one piece of gym equipment I absolutely loathe with my entire existence. And the one piece of gym equipment I cannot stand and I just hate, and it's from Satan himself, it is the treadmill. I can't do treadmills. I hate these things. Now, just follow me here. I get it's a practical tool for fitness, right? You can adjust the speed and the incline, and I see people walking backwards on them sometimes, and I get it. But here's why I'm so frustrated by treadmills. You do all that running. You put in all that effort. You could run miles and miles on that thing, and you end in the same exact spot you started. You did not move an inch. If I'm gonna work that hard, if I'm gonna run, I wanna get somewhere. I wanna see some sights. I wanna see some landmarks. I wanna feel like I've actually accomplished something. And this is the problem. A treadmill is motion without movement. And treadmills are so annoying, we even use them as a metaphor for life. Okay, this is how much we hate treadmills. Because we say, I feel like I'm on a treadmill right now, right? And so it's like, man, I'm doing emails, I've got meetings, I've got kids, I've got just the weekly thing going on, and it just kind of feels like there's a lot of motion in my life, but not a whole lot of movement. Nicole and I, we have a treadmill moment every single week. This just happened the last couple of days, I kid you not. So every single week, it's usually Thursday or Friday, and Nicole and I'll be waking up, and at this point in time, there's been a couple days of clients and work and kids and activities and sports and late nights and all the things. And so Thursday or Friday, we'll even just be waking up. We may not have even gotten out of bed yet, and she'll turn over, and I can see it on her face. And she goes, this is her line, please don't make me. That's what she says. Please don't make me. I don't want to. And what it is she doesn't want to get back on the treadmill. She is done. And so, guys, this is my wife. This is the woman I've given my life to. This is my soulmate. So after years now of this, hearing this from her, I've finally learned how to encourage her. I know how to build this woman up in this moment. And so what I tell the love of my life, I look her right in the eyes and I say, buckle up, buttercup. Because we got about 30 more years of this, so you better just get ready for what's coming. It's a treadmill. Some of us in here, watch your emotions through today. You are going to get increasingly depressed as this day goes on. You are. This is as happy as you're ever gonna be right now in this moment today. And here's what's gonna happen. As the day goes on, you're gonna be looking at a clock and you're gonna be getting closer and closer to getting back on your treadmill. Because another word for treadmill is Monday. And isn't it crazy though? This is our one life. The one life you will ever live. You don't get another one. And most of us in here, we're taking one deep breath just to make it through one more week. Just getting back on that treadmill one more time. And this is the problem with the treadmill experience, is as you're taking those steps and running on this thing, it's very easy to start losing motivation. And you start to lose just this sense of purpose sometimes, like, why am I even doing this? Sometimes you just kind of lose your passion. You just feel a little tired, and there's a trap every single one of us can fall into. It happens to all of us. You run on this treadmill long enough, what can happen is you actually start, I would call it this, sleepwalking through life. Now, this is what gets us into Proverbs now, with where we're going. Solomon in Proverbs talks about a certain type of person we're all at risk of becoming. Every single one of us, this is a risk. What happens is you start losing some motivation. You start losing a little bit of passion in life, maybe even some direction. And Solomon says you can actually become what he calls lazy with your life. You're just kind of not into it. You're not really feeling it. You're not excited about it. And look what Solomon even says with some of these verses. Proverbs 26, as a door swings back and forth on its hinges, so the lazy person turns over in bed. Come on, who has that ever happened to before? Oh man, especially when it starts getting cold. Come on, in the fall, it's just like, these sheets. Here's the thing though. Come on, the alarm goes off. Some of you, your kid is your alarm. Your baby starts crying. Maybe you have the dog that licks your face or just jumps in the bed. And you have just this moment where you wake up and you go, I would give my entire life savings just to lay in this bed for one more hour. Like, I really would. Because you're like, I don't want to leave this bed. I want to live in this bed, actually. This is right where I want to stay because I don't want to get back on the treadmill. Look at Proverbs 13. The soul of a lazy person desires and gets nothing. Now, this is tough. Because whether it's just the humdrum side of life or again, just the demands or the exhaustion or the redundancy, you lose motivation. You don't really want to keep going, but here's the problem. You still have these inner desires. You still have these things you do want from life, but now you've lost the drive to actually make them a reality. And so what you experience is a dissonance in your life. There's a gap between what you want and what you are willing to do to get it. And that's where you start feeling the frustration. You feel like your life is just falling short of what you really hoped it could have been or maybe even should have been. One more verse here. Solomon says, fools are destroyed by their own complacency. Now, this is what makes slipping into sleepwalking so dangerous. Solomon says it's destructive for your life. And so if you read through Proverbs, a lot of different times they'll say, you're going to experience a lack of fulfillment because of this. There's going to be an emptiness. It will even hurt your relationships in some cases, even just your overall quality of life. So many things get impacted when we just slip into going through the motions with our life. Now, when I even just talk about a topic like this, I feel like there's kind of like a common line of thinking we kind of go into. And I think it makes total sense. Because you hear this kind of treadmill thing and you go, well, yeah, Brian, I feel like I'm on a treadmill because I am working so hard. Because I am doing all the things. And you know what? If I could just get a better job, I had a better boss, or just the hours were different, this would make my life so much better. Right here today, you're like, yes, Brian, the reason it's hard for me to just feel a lot of passion and excitement is because I have a toddler at home. And this kid is screaming all the time. I'm a walking milk machine. That's all I am. I've had these thoughts before. We're getting close, guys. I think it is going to happen. Where I'm like, man, it is going to be amazing once those robots really can do our laundry and the dishes. Have you seen some of these videos? It's coming, guys, and I cannot wait. To which, when I start talking about that with Nicole, she says, why are you even excited about that? I do all of those things already. Like, what are you even talking about? Nothing is going to change about your life. So, sleepwalking. Very tempting to start thinking something is wrong with my circumstances. Like if I could change the conditions of my life, I'd be excited again. There'd be some passion, there'd be some motivation. Like once these kids start wiping their own butts, my life is gonna be so much better. Today though, I think we need to consider a possibility. Maybe something isn't wrong with my circumstances. Maybe something is wrong with me. There's actually a really cool image that Solomon uses when he talks about just getting lazy with life. And this is actually a little image you'll catch in the Bible. It's actually the image of a bow here. Now, this is where I need one of those like lapel mics so I can actually use my hands, but we'll just deal with it here. So I got a little bow and arrow here. Now we all know how this works, right? Put the little tension on it. You just kind of pull it back. You trust your pastor way too much right now. You should all be, this thing is real right here. Now that is rubber, but I'll be honest, I don't know what, this still hurt a little bit, I think. But you put a little tension on it, right? Now, this is actually the image that Solomon uses when he talks about a lazy person. I brought another bow here. Now, my kids told me I was not allowed to cut off the other string. They said, if you break our toys, Dad, we will hurt you. So ignore this one. Let's focus on this string right here. You know what Solomon says? He says a lazy person is like a bowstring that's gone slack. So that's the picture right there. He's like kind of flimsy, kind of weak. And if I were to pull this one back, you don't look scared at all. He's not even flinching right now. Because you all know what's about to happen, right? There is no tension in that thing. There's no pop. And Solomon actually says, this is what happens to you when you start sleepwalking through life. This is what happens when you just lose that motivation, when you don't just really want to give yourself this and you become just like this slack kind of bow. Now, there's actually another type of person that Solomon talks about in Proverbs. And he uses this person in contrast with somebody he would call lazy with their life. And what Solomon calls these people is the diligent. That's what he calls them. And Solomon says a diligent person is like a bow with a really high tension string right here. Like this is gonna shoot some stuff. And so this is the image he uses right here. And he talks about all these different benefits from this type of person. Look what he says in Proverbs 10. Diligent hands bring wealth. I have probably, like other people in here, listened to hundreds and hundreds of podcasts. Maybe I'm in thousands, I don't even know. And sometimes you listen to those ones where it's like the world-changing entrepreneurs or the titans of industry. I've listened to enough of these things now. I have never a single time in my entire life heard one of these guys when they're asked, what is the secret? How do you build the billion-dollar company? How do you do it? I've never heard one of those men or women say, you know what the secret is? Netflix and Doritos. That's how you do it. That is the answer. That is how you change. I've literally never heard it. No, these guys are like, I've slept on this factory floor for 10 years. I'm working 80 hours weeks. And because there's just a principle here, diligence adds value. It can produce value in the world. Look at this other one though, Proverbs 12. Diligent hands will rule. Now again, this is a principle here. The kind of person who typically will see promotion and advancement in their life is someone who is a bow that actually works. Someone who can actually shoot some arrows with their life. Now let's go back to Proverbs 13. This is where the comparison comes in. We read this. The soul of a lazy person desires and gets nothing. That's sad. But look at how the rest of the verse ends. But the diligent are fully satisfied. Another version, I love it. It says this, the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. So here's what Solomon's basically saying. When you are able to approach, and I would say even attack your life with some real passion, some real purpose, he says there is actually a satisfaction that comes with this. Because you're not just sleepwalking anymore. You are fully engaged in the one and only life that God has given you. And he says there's a richness to that you just cannot get any other way. So here is what Solomon is just trying to tell us today. God did not design you to just survive on a treadmill. No, he made you to run as you go through this one and only gift that is your life. So let's talk about this for a minute. How do we get off the treadmill? Let's talk about this, getting off the treadmill, because that's really what we do. How do we get movement from the motion? How do you make it so your life doesn't just feel like you are just running in place, sleepwalking? And Solomon here actually uses kind of a funny illustration. Proverbs 6, this is what he says. Go watch the ants, you lazy person. Watch what they do and be wise. Now, if you ever see some ants, Solomon's got a recommendation. First off, before you get that can of Raid and just start spraying them, don't kill them yet. Or for anybody else in here, make sure you don't get that magnifying glass and just start cooking them. Okay, don't do that yet either. He says, watch them. He goes on, ants have no commander, no leader or ruler, but they store up food in the summer and gather their supplies at harvest. Now, I've actually fallen in love with these verses now because we did something I've always wanted to do as a family this summer. We went on Amazon and actually got an ant farm. You can order these things. And it's crazy because you can order ants and they just come in like this little test tube and you just dump them in this little, like terrarium living space thing. And it is pretty crazy because the moment we got this little ant farm and put them in there, these guys went to work. They went full Chip and Joanna Gaines on this ant farm. They started moving pictures around and adjusting the furniture and rearranging things. And a few days later, I kid you not, they had a whole city built out. I mean, they had like food stores and movie theaters, and it was like insane. And what was so crazy about it is I never once had to boss these ants around. They never got a job description. I never had to give them a performance review. I mean, they just worked. And these ants have brains the size of a grain of sand. And Solomon says they have more motivation than we do. They're more passionate about their life than us. They have more purpose than people made in the image of God. And so he's like, learn a lesson from them. And Solomon says here, the first thing you really have to figure out, if you're going to wake up, you're going to get off this treadmill, you want to become a diligent person with your life, he says you absolutely must make sure that you find your why. One of the most difficult things about just doing all of the things, just life, is that many times it actually does kind of feel like there's not much purpose to it. Let's just be honest. It's like a lot of us in here, you have a job and it gets you a paycheck, but most of your job is just kind of meh. Really though. That's why you're not excited about Monday. You're in the season where you're just toting your kids around town. You're driving from one thing to the next. You just feel like literally a glorified Uber driver. And your kids don't even tip. So it's like so frustrating. You're cooking dinner every single day. You're doing laundry. You're vacuuming. It's treadmill. It feels like a lot of treadmill. But Solomon, he actually wrote another book in addition to Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, where he says this: whatever you do it with all your might. And there's actually a parallel verse in the New Testament where Paul says this: whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. And so what is really the message of Solomon, now even Paul in the New Testament, and really just the message of the Bible? It's no matter what you are doing, go all in with it. Keep your bowstring tight in the way you live. Don't you dare start sleepwalking through this thing. You want to bring all your effort and your passion that you possibly can to every single thing you're doing. I want to ask you today, when was the last time you went all in on something? You brought your full self to it. You were not just going through the motions. Something kind of funny happened this last week. I don't even know how it happened. We were having just a family dinner. We're sitting at the table, we're talking, whatever. And somehow the topic came up of Nicole and I getting engaged with our kids. Now my kids are 6 and 8. We'd never talked about like how we got married and the whole story. So we start telling them, oh yeah, this is whatever. And then we decided we want to get married. But what was funny about this is I actually had my proposal to Nicole video recorded. So we had an old video of this thing. We had to dig it up. I don't think Nicole and I had ever watched this since we actually got engaged or married. So we find the video. And first off, we have made a lot of progress in video quality over the years. I was like, was this 1832? I can't even watch this thing. It's horrible. But we're watching this video of me proposing to Nicole, showing it to our kids for the first time. And you know what I could not help thinking while we're watching that video? Dang, I was romantic. I was like, who is that guy? I mean, my goodness. I was impressed with myself. It was over the top. I mean, I was all in on that proposal. I pulled out all the strings. And I mean, I'm just saying, I don't want to make any guys feel bad here, but I did a good job on that proposal. Now, why was that such a big thing? And why was that such a special moment? Because I had such a clear why. I want to marry that girl. I want to give my life to that woman. And I get one shot at making this big ask. And I need her to say yes, okay? Because it ain't like there's a lot of options here for me. But I was all in on this thing. I was so excited about it. I had passion for it. And all the married people in this room, though, you kind of know how it goes. Oh yeah, there's the proposal moment and the engagement. But then you've been married a couple of years. And it's very easy even for a marriage to go from, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. You are my soulmate. To, will you please just stop farting in the bed? Can you please just stop doing that? So it's not just my marriage where that's a problem? God. I don't know why that was part of the story. I apologize. We're all human here. But isn't it funny though? Isn't it funny? Something as important as marriage, is life-changing, is giving your life to somebody. Even in that, you can slip into sleepwalking. The most important relationship in your life, and you feel like you're on a treadmill with it. And so Solomon says the only way you are ever going to be able to go all in is if you have clarity of purpose for your life. You have to have that why laser clear. And so Solomon says there's actually only one why that will sustain you. There's only one. This is the only one that will keep you going through all the running that life entails. And look what he says in Proverbs 16. Commit your work to the Lord. And now let's go back to our parallel verse here too from Paul, where he says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for people. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Now, this is so critical. This is what you got to see. It's not so much about what you do. It's about why you do it. Okay, that's the key here. Because when we talk about this sometimes, it's not the change in circumstances. Again, it's the change in us that needs to happen. This is what we're talking about. And here's the attitude that we have so many times. Well, I just got to pay the bills, so that's why I'm working the job. Or, I got to eat, so somebody has to cook. Or I need clean underwear, so somebody's just got to do the laundry. So that's just kind of how we think. But this is where Solomon's saying you need a shift in perspective here. Something needs to change in the way you think about and approach your life. You have to see and understand you have been created by the God of the universe. He knows your name. And he has placed you here at this time, in this place. He's given you a unique personality, interests, set of gifts, and now he has invited you to be a part of the most incredible, world-changing project of building his kingdom, advancing his purposes, seeing lives change through your very influence, even restoring this very world. You are in an eternity-building project right now. And here's what this means, though. Every single thing in your life matters. Like, really matters. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is useless. Nothing is meaningless in your life. God is working in it. He is using it. He is actively involved even in your very life. And see, when you start to see this, this is the realization you have. This is a breakthrough moment. I'm not on a treadmill. There is motion to my life. This thing is moving, and because you now know that, you believe it to the depths of your soul, you're like, I don't want to just waste time now. I don't want to miss out on this one opportunity God has given me. I want to be all in with this thing. all in. Look what Solomon says. Whatever you do. If you have the right why, whatever becomes worship. It doesn't matter what it is. You see, you have endless opportunities to glorify God, to bring his very love, presence, and power into the very situations you find yourself in. When you find the why, here's what happens. Your heart starts to engage in a different way with your life. And there is a passion to it. You're engaged on a different level. So it's your parenting, it's your job, it's your math homework, it's even your pickleball league. I don't know, whatever you do, whatever it is, Solomon says, it doesn't matter. Give your full self to it. Be a person of diligence. Be all in with this thing. Now, there's one key area that I want to just zoom in on for a minute. And I want to talk just for a minute about spiritual diligence. A lot of times we slip into approaching our spiritual lives in kind of the same way like a kid approaches cleaning their room, you know? It's like I kind of have to. Mom and dad will be mad if I don't, but I don't really want to do it. I'll get to it. And so, come on. We get a little lazy with prayer sometimes. And we kind of miss getting into the Bible. It kind of falls off to the wayside. Come on, we get a little lazy with church. You wake up on that Sunday morning, you're like, do I want to wear pants today? I want to ask you today, what is your why when it comes to your own faith? Because sometimes we even lose the why when it comes to our relationship with God. Let's use just the example of church right now, just because we're in church right now. The attitude a lot of times, especially in America, is, you know what? I'll come if I'm in the mood. If I'm not feeling too tired today, let's see how the kids kind of wake up, and then we'll figure it out there. What time are the Broncos playing today? Okay, got to build my schedule. And so it can show on Sunday too. I'm just talking right now. And we kind of stroll in a little bit late. We kind of know how the service goes. So, we mouth to the words. Brian's going to do his thing. It's funny because I'll sometimes have people come up to me and they're like, Brian, I wish we did more songs at church. And I say, we do. You just missed the first 3. We do. They happen. There's a danger, though. Here's the danger. In the back of our minds, we're thinking, you know what? Church is about my needs being met. Church is about my preferences being met in this space. Church, it's about how comfortable I feel, how convenient this experience is for me. And here's what happens. You don't even notice it happening, but the why in your faith becomes you. You are your why. You exist for you, even in your own relationship with God. God exists to make me happy. God exists to meet my needs. God exists to make all of my dreams come true. And let me just tell you today, if you are your why, do not expect God to do anything great in your life. Ecclesiastes 9. Whatever you do, do it with all your might. Why? Because you're doing it for God. This is the same God who left heaven to come to earth for you. This is the same God who took nails through his hands and feet for you. This is the same God who defeated the grave. He is alive. He is ruling and he is reigning. He is a God who is worthy of our worship, and I think he's a God who we should praise in this moment right now. Do you guys see it? Dude, God is the one person it's all about. And even he didn't make it about him. He made it about you. God went all in for you. And so when you see that, who he is and what he's done for you, you know what the only right response is? God, all in. Of course I'm all in with you. Why would I give you any less? It doesn't even make sense. And so every single Sunday, church, you got to know this. We are setting a tone as a church every single week. And we are deciding every single Sunday what kind of church we're going to be. And so we got to ask ourselves today, do we want to just be the lazy church? We'll stroll in when we feel like it. Just kind of mouth the words to the songs. Check the scores while Brian's preaching. I see you. I can see you. There's like, okay? I'm just saying, like, I can see. Or are we going to be a church that's all in? Are we going to be a church that goes after God with all of our might, with all of our hearts? I mean, on Sundays, guys, are we going to sing or are we going to sing? How are we going to serve each other? We're going to bring our hearts to each other. How are we going to engage in this spirit? Is it just another Sunday, or is it an opportunity to encounter the living God and see what he has for your life? What are we going to be? What kind of church are we going to be, guys? So you better get that why. You need it deep down in your heart, and it will drive whatever you do to become worship, to become an experience of just passion and life. But then we have to make sure we do this second thing, and I promise I only have a minute left. You have to make sure that you push toward the promise. Push toward the promise. Here's the reality of life. There are times where we really are trying to be diligent. We're doing our best, many times. But the treadmill is exhausting. And so, you start getting a little momentum in life, but then the car breaks down, the air conditioning goes out, whatever it is, and now it's just like another thing. You finally start to feel some progress, and you have a massive setback at work, and it just throws you off. You go through a season of just financial strain. Honestly, like the relationship falls apart. You have a kid who is struggling. Honestly, there's just chemical, hormonal things going on, and it just kind of throws your emotions off, and it just kind of makes it hard to function. And before you know it, you know what you want to do? Stay in bed. And that's what makes this so difficult, man. Because you just want to start sleepwalking, because you're like, why try? It doesn't even work. I'm doing my best, and I just can't get ahead. Well, let's look at Hebrews here. This is what the writer says. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work. We want each of you to show this, here's the key thing, same diligence to the very end, so that what you hope for may be fully realized. Don't become lazy, but imitate those who through faith and perseverance inherit the promises. Here's what you need to see. God has promises for you. Oh man, he promises that he is using your life for a greater purpose. That's a promise over your life. He promises that he has good plans that he is working out. God promises that he is going to bring you into his perfect, eternal kingdom that will last forever and ever. God promises that he has an inheritance prepared for you. These are some of the promises of God over your life. And there's a guarantee God has for you too. And his guarantee is you are not running on a treadmill. That is not what your life is. Every single step you take is one step closer to the promises of God for your life. I don't know anybody who runs in here. You know, they have those running apps, like the Stravas and the Nikes and stuff. You look at those apps, it's pretty crazy. Like it tells you exactly where you went, every step, down to like the 100th of the mile. It can track all your running history forever. And see, God here, he says, I don't forget. I have a full account of every single step you have taken in your life. God says, I see the sacrifices. I see the effort you've been putting in. I see the exertion and heart that you are bringing to your life. And God says, I promise you, there's a day coming when all of that running is going to pay off. And you're going to pass right through that tape into the finish line of all the promises that I have for you. But there's one thing you have to do to get it. This is now your job. You have to have diligence to the very end. We have a value here at our church. This is a core value. We only have 4. So this is really important to us. And this value is we run to win. That's the value. This is a value not of competition with other people. No, it's a value of faithful perseverance. It's a value of diligence to the very end. This is a value of all in with God, finishing this thing. But this is the charge you have from God himself. God is telling you today, do not get lazy with your life. You have to persevere. You have to push through because God promises you this is all going to pay off. And this is my hope and prayer for every single person here today. Man, I'm praying this for you. That would be the story of your life. Man, you ran this thing all the way to the end with all of your heart. With all of your might, that you accessed every single promise God had for your life. I tell you guys, this is one of the reasons this is a value for our church. Because this is what I want the story of New Hills to be. That we were a people that were all in with God. That we were a people, man, who moved. And that we were a people who experienced all of the promises that God even had for this community. That's what I want for New Hills. And so as we close this series, I just want to do something maybe a little different than what we normally do. And I just want us to have a moment just of reflection and prayer. Again, we're closing out the series, closing out this message. And so even just remove distraction. You don't have to, but if you just even want to close your eyes, maybe you even want to just open up your hands in a posture of, God, I want to receive something right now. If you want to help me, whatever you want to do that'll help you engage in this moment. Let's take this seriously, though. Let's lean into this. Let's ask God right now. You ask him, God, where in my life am I sleepwalking right now? God, where am I stuck on the treadmill? Where am I just going through the motions in this one life you've given me? God, where am I not giving it all my heart and might? And now let's ask God even right now, just for clarity, God, where do you want me to be more diligent? Where are you calling me to have more passion and purpose to bring my full self to this thing? And God, we just reach out to you today. We want to be a diligent people. God, we want to bring our whole hearts to this thing. God, we want to be all in. And whatever this may mean to you, this is just an opportunity for you to just mark a moment right now in your life. Even if today you'd say, you know what, God, just as a fresh declaration, I want to commit. I want to say I am all in with you today. Even if just today you say, God, I want to freshly commit. I'm all in. Would you even just lift your hand right now? I got my hand up. God, all in. I'm all in right now. Come on, God. I'm reaching my hand out to you. Even put a little effort into this thing, God. All in. I want to give it all to you. My entire life, my whole heart, all of my passion. And God, right now, we want to be a church who is all in. We want to be a church who is running. We want to be a church who runs all the way to win this thing called life. And Jesus, you are worthy of it. There is no one else like you. And may you be lifted up through our lives as we commit them to you. And we pray this in the wonderful name of Jesus. Everybody said, amen.